one's gonna catch us now. Dad is bought a new car now. We're fine, no one's gonna catch us now. You said something dumb again. She's mad, at least that's what they say. Mom and Daddy aren't in love. That's fine, I'll settle for 2 birthdays. Devil-town is colder in the summertime. I'll lose my mind at least another 1,000 times. Hold my hand tight, we'll make it another night. I still get a little scared of something new, but I feel a little safer when I'm with you. Falling doesn't feel so bad when I know you're falling this way too. We're all dead in Devil-town. That's fine, 'cause nothing's gonna scare us now. We're all in our dressing gowns. Mine's white and stripy, yours is green and brown. I forgot my name again. I think that's something worth remembering. Spiders in your favorite shoes, just leave them be, 'cause they're more scared of you. Devil-town is colder in the summertime. I'll lose my mind at least another 1,000 times. Hold my hand tight, we'll make it another night. I still get a little scared of something new, but I feel a little safer when I'm with you. Falling doesn't feel so bad when I know you're falling this way too. It's lovely in the evening time, but every time I close my eyes, the sunshine gets a little dimmer now. The clouds fall down, I sink my teeth into my fingers. Blossom swims across the river. How do you feel so proud? Every time I close my eyes, the colors fade and change inside my mouth. It's all too loud. I sink my teeth into my fingers. Blood forms branches in the water. Devil-town is colder in the summertime, so I'll stay inside. Devil-town is colder in the summertime. I'll lose my mind at least another 1,000 times. Hold my hand tight, we'll make it another night. I still get a little scared of something new, but I feel a little safer when I'm with you. Falling doesn't feel so bad when I know you're falling this way too.
I've read that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. Thomas Clelland was a person who always made people feel happy and supported. He was always willing to step up and help people in need. He made everyone feel not just good, but also important or valued. Everyone here today, especially John and Russell, are reeling from this inexplicable, tragic death of a beautiful 16-year-old boy. And the fact that there are no answers, however hard they look. But looking out at everyone, and there are lots of people, I see so many people who at one point in their life have been touched by Thomas. And I realise that even in death, he is looking out for John and Russell. The people Thomas has supported or touched in the smallest of ways throughout his young life are here to support the two men who were quite simply the loves of his life. Death that is too early to comprehend is the most tragic in our minds and causes the deepest emotions. Good morning, everyone. And on behalf of John Russell, I welcome you all to McClaren's funeral home. I also extend a welcome to Thomas's grandparents, Isa and Jim, Uncle Tom, his brothers Jimmy, Stephen and Nathan, and all other extended family who are present today. My name is Mary Martin, and I have been allowed the greatest honour of conducting the celebration of this young man's 16 years. And we'll do this through stories kindly given to me by John and Russell. There will be a photo tribute, as I'm sure most of you have been watching already, throughout this service. This service will be emotive, but it is the hope that the person Thomas was will come through in everything that is talked and sung about, and will leave each person at peace with the thought that for no matter how long they did have him in their lives. You will have received an order of service on entering, a booklet which is put together with so much love and attention, and yet it can be overlooked. On this occasion, the booklet was lovingly prepared by staff and pupils of St Andrew's Secondary, with John and Russell's input. An order of service is the introduction of the person's life that we are celebrating. Pictures, songs and poetry, all telling a small story, and no matter how small, it is significant. So what stories is Thomas sharing? Our entry song today was Deviltown by Cavetown. Thomas's best friend Brian chose this as a memory of the Cavetown concert they both attended at Barrowlands. Brian was there with other friends and Thomas with Taylor. At Reflection and the Committal, Dancing in the Sky by Danny and Lizzie will play. This has been chosen by John for the appropriateness of the lyrics, about loss and the hope that Thomas is now at peace. During the tribute, Home by Edith Whiskers will play, and this has been dedicated to Thomas by his good friend Landon. She met Thomas in his first year at secondary, and they bonded almost immediately. The song Thomas will leave the funeral home to will be High Hopes by Panic at the Disco. This group was Thomas's first concert to the Hydro with Russell, as he is also a fan. Russell did share that he got binned the next concert as Thomas and Brian attended it. The entrance to Dildowie will be 7 Years by Lucas Graham. Now, this was Thomas's first karaoke song at the age of 7, when he went on holiday to Greece with John and Russell. As most will be aware, there are a number of verses to this song. Well, actually, there's 13. From what John and Russell shared, and there possibly is a slight exaggeration here, the shutters of the bar were coming down and the cleaning staff were moving in for the end of the evening, but Thomas got to the end of those 13 verses. A Sky Full of Stars by Coldplay will end the celebration. Russell loved Coldplay, and Thomas knew this. YouTube videos would be put on at home, and they would both dance around the living room. The poems which I will recite during the service here and in Dildowie are dedicated to Thomas by John and Russell, a collection of pictures reflecting Thomas's happiest moments with people who meant so much to him. The booklet has introduced that today is not so much about endings, but enduring and wonderful memories. There is no finality to memories. They go on and on. Thomas Clelland was a mini-me of Russell, ganged up on poor John, loved being part of a family, was kind, looked for acceptance, was a fixer, and loved Primark. These are some of the things you will hear throughout his story today. In the year of 2006, Twitter was founded and launched by Jack Dorsey, and the Wii console was marketed and launched by Nintendo. That very same year, on Tuesday, the 24th of October, an IT whiz was born in Motherwell to James Clelland by the name of Thomas Clelland. Thomas was the youngest of 4 boys, Jimmy, who had a close relationship with him, Stephen and Nathan. He had a close bond through similar interests with his uncle Tom, who is also with us today. In 2011, when Tom was 5, his father died. His dad's ashes were scattered at the family home. Thomas, being young and innocent, poured some beer over his dad's ashes. When it disappeared, he asked for more, as his dad had drunk the last one. The 2 youngest boys, Nathan and Thomas, had then to be taken into care. In the same year our IT whiz was born, in 2006, John Weir and Russell Japp bought a new home, and the 2 men discussed fostering and their want to try and give a child a nice life. This discussion eventually turned to reality for them, and in December 2013, John and Russell got their wish and were given the permanent foster care of Thomas and his brother Nathan. They were under no illusion that this would be challenging for them as new parents and for the boys adjusting to a different life. And so 2 became 4. And this happened naturally because the boys chose them. They didn't choose the boys. John said it was the best ever Christmas present both him and Russell had. The first Christmas, John and Russell had everything sorted, and Russell, being big on Christmas, was up by 4 a.m. on the Christmas morning, waiting for the boys, bounding down the stair. Nothing. He sat another hour, and again, not a peep. Waiting on the boys again, bounding, nothing. By 6 o'clock, Russell was exasperated. He turned on the Christmas music full pelt and heard the boys come out of their rooms. There was no running down the stair to rip open the prezzies, just 2 mesmerised boys pinching themselves that everything wrapped in the room belonged to them. It really was a perfect Christmas. From that year onwards, the Christmas and birthday ritual has always been to wait for the music blasting before the boys headed downstairs. Thomas's first bike at the age of 9 was so precious to him. He learned to go the bike in 2 hours, and as he was a fixer of things, always looked after his pride and joy. Thomas and his brother attended Our Lady and St Joseph's in Glenboig. They were so warmly accepted into the school community. It's a very daunting thing to be moved about during your education. And when the boys came to Glenboig, it was thanks to Mrs Turnbull, the head teacher, and her teaching staff for setting the foundation. This acceptance then extended to the whole of Glenboig community. And for that, both the boys, John and Russell, were grateful. Now, Thomas was a fixer of things from a very early age. He had a fascination for taking things apart, just to see how they worked. He would open the sockets. The first bit of family fun was jumping on the beds, and that was just Russell. He was taken to Manchester, Legoland, theme parks, Spain, Tunisia, Turkey, and a real favourite was Greece, where the family holidayed a few times. The holidays always took place after school finished in June, and it always landed on Nathan's birthday. The freebies for the birthday boy were always great, but there were some that were shared by all four. There was a holiday to Turkey, where to celebrate Nathan's birthday, the restaurant they were eating at sat them at a table on the jetty, brought a huge cake and set off fireworks. How cool is that? John, Russell and the boys were also up in a bar dancing to all the favourite dance tunes. Holidays were fabulous, fun and family. To Thomas, that was all that ever counted. As the boys were getting older, John and Russell decided to split them up. When Thomas got his own room, it was like all his dreams had come true. As spoken about previously, he was a lad who was always in a rush, so you wouldn't be surprised to know that he wanted the room organised yesterday. Russell tried to slow him down a little, but of course that wasn't happening. The mattress was dragged into the room and he slept there until it was completed. He assisted with the painting, I think I can use that phrase loosely, and getting the place organised. He made his room his castle. He loved the feeling of permanency. He was very plain and simple in his clothing and footwear choice. Didn't like brand names. T-shirts, hoodies and jeans had to be plain and understated. Where better to buy clothes like that? Primark, Thomas's favourite retailer. When he started high school, he would meet up with a group of friends at Coatbridge, from Coatbridge High and St Andrews at the skate park in the West End Park. Thomas soon found his besties within the group, Landon and Brian. Brian was the lad I spoke of earlier that Thomas dumped Russell for to go to a gig. They became great mates. Landon, well, she just got him. She connected with him, and they could offload to and support one another. Landon has chosen the next track, Home by Edith Whiskers, in memory of her beloved friend.
So hard to love my marked bar, not the way that I do love you. Well, holy moly, me oh my, you're the apple of my eye. God, I've never loved one like you. And oh my best friend, I scream into the nothingness. There ain't nothing that I need. Well, hot and heavy pumpkin pie, chocolate candy, Jesus Christ, ain't nothing pleased me more than you. Home, let me come home. Home is wherever I'm with you. Home, let me come home. Home is wherever I'm with you.
follow you into the park, through the jungle, through the dark. God, I never loved one like you. Boats and waterfalls, alleyways and payphone calls. I'll be here never out with you. We laugh until we think we'll die, barefoot on a summer night. Nothing new is sweeter than with you. And in the street we run free, like it's only you and me. Geez, you're something to see. Oh, oh, let me go home. Home is whenever I'm with you. Oh, oh, let me go home. Home is whenever I'm with you. Come home. Home is whenever I'm with you. Oh, home, let me come home. Home is whenever I'm with you.
When John had to work late, Russell and Thomas would enjoy steak night. Poor John, of course, was left with a sausage roll. They would go shopping at Tesco to buy the goodies. He enjoyed food shopping with Russell. They had a routine. Russell would choose the items, Thomas would scan them, and then, of course, Russell would pay at the till. Now, there was one occasion that amongst others that they had got, the boys got baked potatoes. The potatoes were picked and scanned, but as they approached the till, Thomas broke the news to Russell that he'd only scanned one. Russell was firstly horrified, then very quickly went to terrified when they were chosen for a cheque. Thomas was standing behind the checker, making Russell feel very uneasy. And then the checker was finished. Thomas was all chuffed with himself as he had saved Russell 60 pence and actually managed to wind him up so badly that he thought he was going to get clapped in irons for stealing a tatty. Thomas enjoyed cooking, winding Russell up, playing John and Russell off against one another. And although always in a rush, when he came off that school bus and sprinted home, his reasoning had to be because he loved being part of a loving family. He lost the fear that he harboured when young that things in his life would not be permanent. The longer he was with John and Russell, the stronger the trust and love he had for both of them became, knowing they wanted him forever. He was finally accepted for who he was and was part of the family he always wanted to be. Night, night. Sleep tight. Love you. Lights out. Just before reflection, I would now like to ask John to come forward and say a few words.
Thanks, Mary. Wrong pocket. On behalf of Russell and myself, Thomas's nan and papa, and their families, we would like to express our sincere thanks to everyone for their kindness and support during this very sad, heartbreaking time. We would like to mention a few people in person. Thomas's special friends, Landon, Brian, and his bus buddy James for always being there for him. We'd also like to thank our neighbours and friends, in particular James and Charmaine, who have been absolutely fantastic. We cannot thank you enough. They have helped us ease your pain and heartbreak. The whole of the Glenboy community have also been amazing with their overwhelming support and compassion. Russell and myself would like to thank Mrs T and staff from Your Ladies in St Joseph's Primary, and Mr Holmes and staff from St Andrew's Secondary, especially Mrs Halavaj and Paula, the school nurse, who were absolutely outstanding for both boys. A special thank you to Caroline, who has put together Thomas's order of service, which is unique to Thomas, which we know he would love. We would also like to thank the young people from St Andrews and Coatbridge High, who have kindly given up their Saturday and handed out his order of service. I could stand here all day thanking everyone, but we would be here all week. Thanks to Andy for his outstanding help with the funeral arrangements. I'll stop talking now, but before I go, I would like to say a massive thank you to all the emergency services who showed professional, loving care and compassion to Russell and myself, but more importantly to Thomas during a difficult, sad and emotional time. We both miss you very much, and we will always love you. Till we meet again. Sleep tight. Thanks.
Thomas, like many others, found it hard to speak openly about his fears and his worries. There is nothing that cannot be fixed. For those of us here today suffering similar feelings, use this time to open your hearts and minds and bravely share your worries with someone. Today is about celebrating. Do not let Thomas's death be in vain. Let us now listen to Dancing in the Sky.
Tell me, what does it look like in heaven? Is it peaceful? Is it free like they say? Does the sun shine bright forever? Have your fears and your pain gone away? 'Cause here on earth it feels like everything good is missing since you left. And here on earth everything's different. There's an emptiness. Oh, I hope you're dancing in the sky. I hope you're singing in the angels' choir. And I hope the angels know what they have. I'll bet it's so nice up in heaven since you arrived. So tell me, what do you do up in heaven? Are your days filled with love and light? Is there music? Is there art and invention? Tell me, are you happy? Are you more alive? 'Cause here on earth it feels like everything good is missing since you left. in the sky. And I hope you're singing in the angels' choir. And I hope the angels know what they have. I'll bet it's some nights up in heaven since you arrived. Since you arrived.
I will now recite the first of the poems, Life is but a stopping place, from the order of service. Life is but a stopping place, a pause in what is meant to be, a resting place along the road with many views to see. We all have different journeys, different paths along the way. We're all meant to learn something, but never meant to stay. Our destination is a place more peaceful than we know. For some, the journey's quicker, for some, the journey's slow. When the journey finally ends, stars are sparkling in the sky. I will be the brightest one. I will be saying goodbye. Soon we will be taking Thomas to Daldowie Crematorium for our final goodbye. Before we do this, John and Russell wish to thank those who will not be following on to Daldowie for attending the celebration of Thomas's life here at McClaren's funeral home. They are truly overwhelmed with everyone's support and love during this very difficult time. As John has said, they would also like to thank a very special thank you to all the emergency services in attendance on that tragic day. Both John and Russell will be eternally grateful for their dedication, their compassion and professionalism that was shown. There will be donation boxes at the doors as you leave the service. The money received will go to St Andrew's Hospice. As Thomas and some of his friends spent time in the hospice shop in Coatbridge and got to know the staff well. The family will be thankful for all donations, no matter how small. Thomas will now make his journey to Daldowie and will leave to the song High Hopes by Panic at the Disco. Please keep Thomas in your thoughts when listening to this song. Can I ask everyone to move as quickly as you can to your cars, and for all cars to be removed from the car park if you can. Thank you very much.
Mama said, don't give up, it's a little complicated. All tied up, no more love, and I'd hate to see you waiting. Had to have high hopes for a living, shooting for the stars when I couldn't make a killing. Didn't have a time, but I always had a vision, always had high hopes. Had to have high hopes for a living, didn't know how, but I always had a feeling I was gonna be that one in a million. Always had high hopes. Mama said, something for oddities, stranger could say. It's a little complicated, all tied up, no more love, and I'd hate to see you waiting. They say it's all been done, but they haven't seen the best of me. So I got one more run, and it's gonna be a sight to see. Had to have high hopes for a living, shooting for the stars when I couldn't make a killing. Didn't have a dime, but I always had a vision, always had high hopes. Had to have high hopes for a living, didn't know how, but I always had a feeling I was gonna be that one in a million. Always had high hopes. Had to have high hopes for a living, shooting for the stars when I couldn't make a killing. Didn't have a dime, but I always had a vision, always had high hopes. Had to have high hopes for a living, didn't know how, but I always had a feeling I was gonna be that one in a million. Always had high hopes. Had to have high hopes for a living, shooting for the stars when I couldn't make a killing. Didn't have a dime, but I always had a vision, always had high hopes. Had to have high hopes for a living, didn't know how, but I always had a feeling I was gonna be that one in a million. Always had high hopes. Mama said, fulfill the prophecy, be something great. Go make a legacy, manifest destiny. Back in the days we wanted everything, wanted everything. Mama said, burn your biographies, rewrite your history, light up your wildest dreams, museum victories. Every day we wanted everything, wanted everything. Mama said, don't give up, it's a little complicated, all tied up, no more love, and I'd hate to see you waiting. Had to have high hopes for a living, shooting for the stars when I couldn't make a killing. Didn't have a dime, but I always had a vision, always had high hopes. Had to have high hopes for a living, didn't know how, but I always had a feeling I was gonna be that one in a million. Always had high hopes. Mama said, something for oddities, stranger cruises. Ain't ever wannabes, waiting the novelties that don't ever change. We wanted everything, wanted everything. Stay up on that rise, stay up on that